In this video, we're going to take a look at achieving peak performance after we've quit alcohol. Most people think they've cracked it when they've quit alcohol. They think they've finished the race, but in reality, they've only completed the first lap. As high achievers in the business world and life, you know that the journey is always ongoing and never ends. It's always about strategic pivots and continuous growth. How do I know this? Because this was me 10 weeks into my first serious attempt to quit an alcohol. Feeling a sense of accomplishment, but completely unaware this was only the first step and the hard work was all to come. Much like navigating the ups and the downs of a business, I actually realized that the work had only just begun. The reason I've created this video is because I want you to avoid the same mistakes I made during my first serious attempt of quitting alcohol. The key to keeping this newfound freedom is actually realizing that you're not at the finish line, but only at the starting point. You're at a starting point at personal and professional excellence. Let's dive into part one, the reality check after quitting alcohol. Now, most people actually think that they can ride off into the sunset and the work is all done. But little do they know, the hard work only begins after you make the decision to quit. But this is a good sign. This is where your true potential is met. Now, I've talked about this in the past when I quit on my first attempt. I went 10 weeks with no alcohol, and basically I kind of went out with the wrong people, the people I used to hang out with in the past, and before I knew it, I was out drinking alcohol, doing cocaine up to the early hours of the next day. Now, this is much like when you start a business or you land a high-paying role and you start making serious money for the first time. You get complacent and you think to yourself, this is going to be the case all the time. You start spending more because you start making more, then you have a bad week, a bad month, or even a bad year. And then you start to think, okay, maybe I should have reinvested some of that money. Now, alcohol is the same, but instead of spending money, you're basically getting complacent and you stop doing the work that was required to get you sober in the first place. And before you know it, you slipped into your old ways and you're back to square one. Laying the foundations for the future. Consider sobriety like laying the foundations for a house. It supplies the essential foundation for everything that comes after. Just like you wouldn't stop working on the house after the foundations are laid, you shouldn't assume that the journey ends when you stop drinking. Instead, look at it this way. This is the time and the opportunity to start laying the structure for your new life. Your health, your relationships, and your career ambitions. Now, maintaining sobriety requires ongoing maintenance. It requires you to check in on your thoughts, your feelings that lead to your actions. Being aware that the thoughts we think can lead to negative feelings, which can cause destructive habits. Now, I'm gonna make a bold statement, but given the fact that me and you are both on this video now, it's probably safe to say that our thoughts in the past have led us to some destructive behaviors which have got us to where we are now. Now, one of the strongest ways to combat this is through meditation. Now, I'm going to give you two examples. You can meditate in the evening. What this basically does is it calms your mind so you have a better sleep. Now, I've tried this over the last week. 3 days in a row, I didn't meditate before I went to bed. I had the worst sleep ever, and when I actually look back on why I was having bad sleep, it was quite simply because I didn't meditate before I went to bed. I would lay in bed and all the thoughts and the worries, yes, I still have worries, they would basically go through my mind and they would just stop me from sleeping. So meditation clears my mind and helps me sleep. When we wake up in the morning, refreshed, we're in a better mood, and there's more chance that we're going to win the day. Now, number 2, meditating in the morning. When we meditate first thing in the morning before we check our phone or engage with the world, this basically allows us to create a space between stimulus and response. What that means is we basically show up to the world more reserved, and we're calmer, and we're basically able to make better decisions throughout the day, which obviously are going to impact the day in a positive way, and again will win the day. I've personally found that obviously working in my business, when I meditate, it just allows me to be more creative and more productive. Quitting alcohol allows us to open up more growth in our life. This happens because we are able to see more opportunities. Now we're alcohol free, we basically show up to the day with more energy, more freedom, and more clarity. This basically allows us to invest our time and energy into learning more skills. What I've personally found in my own experiences is, since becoming alcohol free, I tend to network with individuals who also have an alcohol free life. Now, surrounding yourself with other people who prioritize an alcohol free life basically keeps you accountable, and it is encouragement going forward. Now, an alcohol-free lifestyle basically opens the door to more opportunities for you by allowing you more time and energy to invest in learning new skills. And by networking with other like-minded people, you can leverage your new mindset in both personal and business growth. Now, surrounding yourself by other individuals who also prioritize an alcohol-free lifestyle will not only encourage you, but it will hold you accountable to staying alcohol-free as well. Now, this can be a powerful motivator towards pushing you towards continued success. Now, in my own personal opinion, surrounding myself around other like-minded people who don't drink alcohol just basically removes all the friction from day-to-day life. Okay, so this was part 1, and I'm gonna do a part 2. So part 2 is gonna involve this. We're gonna have more strategic insights on creating routines, which are gonna keep us accountable to stay sober and obviously push us towards continuous growth. We're also gonna look at goal setting. For me, quitting alcohol and then putting my mindset into my first online business was this massive goal at the time, was hard for me to achieve. It basically just stopped me from drinking alcohol. It kept me so busy. I was fixated on this bigger picture rather than this lower concern. And I believe that's been a driving factor on getting me to where I am today. And we're also gonna look at more mindfulness techniques just to basically keep us more centered throughout the day, which is going to stop us having these destructive habits that have led us to where we are today. And we'll also look at accountability partners and joining networks. This is overlooked. Sometimes when you're in the initial stages of quitting alcohol, it's very important to surround yourself with like-minded people. For me personally, it was during COVID times and that wasn't available to me, but I did manage to follow YouTube channels and social media pages, but we'll get into that on the next one. So please like, subscribe and share, and also comment where you are in your sober journey or if you're thinking about starting, and I will see you in the next one.